Hey guys, Jason here, and I wanted to create this special video because a lot of students are asking the question, which always happens as you start to grow your career, and the question is, I think I need to hire somebody. Who do I hire? What role do I put them into? And what makes sense for my business? I'm starting to do a decent amount of business, but I'm also losing time, and I think I need support. Where should I plug in support? And so I wanted to create this video because we talk about what I would consider three main areas of focus when it comes to hiring what we would consider a human resource, somebody that's going to help us grow our business. So I want to talk about those three categories of that person, the hybrids of which they can create within that role, and compensation for that role. You know, a lot of times as agents, we don't have the capital to put somebody on a $40,000, $50,000 payroll. And so we have to find ways to understand that the human element and what we create within real estate is so important to leverage, but maybe it's participation of our commissions along with a smaller salary or along with a smaller hourly. And so we have to be strategic about that. I also want to talk about hiring and who that person needs to be and why we need to hire somebody with a specific skill set in order to fulfill the role of what we're trying to do. So let's start with identifying the three key elements of that person. Number one is a field agent. Number two is an agent representative. And number three is an administrative role. Now within each of these categories, we have specific responsibilities and tasks. But as your business begins to build and as it grows, sometimes what we consider the scope of work of what we want somebody to do, that scope will change based on how much workload they have. And so what I always like to do is divide up front end and back end, right? When we start carving out what will be our future, when we start looking at when we talk about milestones and we talk about checklists, when we hire these people, we need to make sure that it's very specific on what their tasks are going to be because they need to be doing the same exact tasks. Anything to do with scalability and efficiency means that the person must be doing the exact same thing every single time. Now, they may have a bigger workload up front while you're maybe doing 8 to 10 million a year in business. As you get to 20 million a year in business, maybe now they focus on just the front end and then we hire somebody for the back end. But it's very important that we identify what we're going to be having them do and that it's sketched out. That as this happens, these are my expectations and this is what I need to do for you. That's training and development. So let's get into what each of these mean and how you may be able to plug them into your business. Let's start with a field agent. A field agent is an agent that is responsible for one important key element for you, and that's leveraging time. And leveraging your time is extremely important when it comes to real estate and building your real estate career. And the reason that is because we look at so many things that we do to where it doesn't become valuable for us to be there or to do a specific task, but we're forced to because we're forced to have us as representatives there. For example, an inspection. You know, a lot of states require that the agent be at the inspection or that you show up to the inspection. A lot of people want to show up to an inspection because it looks good on their behalf to their client. Well, to me, I never wanted to go to inspections because I can't change the outcome of the inspection. And inspections take a while. You got to drive to the house, you got to meet the inspector, you got to wait, you got to get the summary. Your client will typically show up and then you go over the report with them. I mean, it's a 5-6 hour day. Sometimes it's a full day just to go to an inspection. And this is why I never wanted to do it. Because that means that I have an entire day that's dedicated to something that isn't going to make me more money. And that's not efficient. And let's say you have 4 escrows, and that's going to take up 3 or 4 days of your month, 3 or 4 days of your week. Think about what that equates to in terms of dollars and time. It's significant. And we can avoid this by having a field agent representing us and setting the proper expectations to our clients that I do not intend inspections. I keep it completely third party. However, my assistant so-and-so will be there. That's all people want, is to know that they're taken care of. Another thing that they can do, they can attend walkthroughs. Walkthroughs are simply just making sure that any components of the inspection under repairs were being done and that the house is in great shape. If you're driving to a walkthrough, then doing the walkthrough, and then driving back home or to the office, guess what? That's another 3 or 4 hours. That isn't going to make us more money. And so we shouldn't be doing those things. We should have somebody doing those things for us. Now, if you're only doing 1 deal a month, okay, you can do it. But when you start doing 3 or 4 deals a month, we need to have somebody that's doing what I call the busy work. Let's take, for example, hanging a lockbox, removing a lockbox. You got to drive to go do that. And even though the activity might only take 5 minutes, it's driving to the activity. And we shouldn't be doing those things. So a field agent is someone that's responsible for helping you leverage time by you not having to attend things that don't make you money. Now, why is this important to the growth of your business? Because now we can go out and have 8, 10, 15 escrows at any given time, and knowing that one person is responsible for, again, going back to making sure that we have it down. So when I go under contract, whether it's a list or whether it's a buy, these are your duties and responsibilities. Your responsibilities are to immediately contact the client and introduce yourself. Your job and responsibility is to let them know that you're going to be scheduling the inspection for them and that you will confirm a date and time with them. Your job on that call, we have a script, right? This is the script call. I will also be in attendance for the inspection. I will then, after the inspection is taken care of, Jason will do the negotiations of the repairs. I don't take care of that, right? Next, I will help and attend your walkthrough with you to make sure that the home is in perfect condition by the time for the request that we laid forth so that you can close on the property. So what does that mean? What did I just say? Well, that means that in our workflow, anytime I get a deal, that there is an initial call to the client. There is a script that I need to write. There is checkoff items for the field agent to make sure that they did call the client, that they did schedule the inspection, that they did go to the inspection, that they did go to the walkthrough. We're creating our internal workflow. But the person that's going to be the field agent for that workflow needs to know what their responsibilities are, and they need to have the assets that you need to create for them. And once that's done, guess what? That's the entire job role. That's it. Follow this path. So if we're going to hire somebody like that, let's make sure we create the proper workflow channel for them to be successful. Now, with compensation. And by the way, with a field agent, it's so necessary when you get to a certain point because you can't be doing busy work without making money. It's not valuable to you, and as long as your client has the expectations set up front of what you attend and what you don't attend, you will be okay. Expectation setting is everything. Now, what do we pay this person? Let's say that you are doing 3 or 4 deals a month, or you're doing 2 or 3 deals a month, and you don't want to attend these anymore, and you want to start this process out. You say, well, it's scary to put somebody on overhead, on a salary or a month or an hourly. I agree with you, it is. So what we want to do, and what I always did, is I wanted somebody that was in it with me. I always wanted to hire somebody that my success would equal to their success. So they always would root me on. So they always would have my back. So they were in it with me. And so I always wanted to make sure that when it came to compensation, that I included my closings as part of this person's compensation. So no matter what deal I do, regardless of anything, if I close a deal, you get $300-400. Depending on how much you're closing, of course, right? But give them a cut of what you're closing, because then you can take an hourly wage down to a smaller amount or a monthly salary down to a smaller amount and have culture participation within your success as a leader, as their boss. So it doesn't have to be somebody that costs a whole lot of money out of your pocket as overhead. Have them participate in the wins. Have them participate in closing commissions. And when you do that, you're going to be on the same page. So that's number 1, is a field agent. That is an important person that you can look to hire to create more leverage of your time and institute in your business.